Thanks for hopping in, man. I'm very inconsistent with my lives. Just never know. Just depends how things go. Haven't felt like doing a live lately. I did the show last night with Blind Dave and on his channel, the Let's Hash It Out. It's our third episode. Excuse me. Third episode is a pretty good one. Starting to hash it out more. The first couple, there's a lot of information at stake. He's one of the guests on there. Every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time to 7 p.m. Central Time. And then we talked for about an hour afterwards, and my phone was at 1%. Barely got it plugged in time. Whatever. Sometimes it's good to disconnect. But no, it was a good video last night. Go check it out. I put the link here in the description. You can go watch it. And hey, Warrior, good morning. And yeah, it's about 10:30 here, Central Time. I am... yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm learning more about the crypto space and how all the government connections are being made behind the scenes, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. See, they're doing it. They're making all these connections right now, lining everything up so that they can be compliant and getting their regulation in place, but we don't see it on the surface. All we see is the drama of, hey, the Rand, Wendell. All we see is the drama of SEC, Gary Gensler, and it's just kind of like you put these actors out on the stage to obfuscate things, and they already know what they're going to do. That's my belief. Everything's already planned out. Everything, they know exactly what they're going to do. It's a 4-year crypto cycle. I don't know if I'm centered here. It's a 4-year crypto cycle. I apologize. Trucks going by, farming season. You got a lot of equipment running through, but I think that there's a master plan. They know exactly how they want to roll things out, and they do it based on the 4-year cycle. And what I mean by that is there's a 4-year cycle in crypto. And you'll, from the trough to the bottom, well, I shouldn't say the bottom, but until the big dump, and then it has, and everybody's emotionally wrecked. If you didn't get out of crypto or take profits in crypto and you're holding crypto because you believe in it long term, like some of us. And no, I believe in it long term. It's just that you gotta, what's the one guy say Jay Snip has on Woo Woo Dude? He says you gotta lick your ice cream. At some point you gotta do something with it and enjoy using that money, because that's what it is. It's money. The problem is it's hard to let go of it because we understand that the old system is gonna kind of break and fall away, and the dollar is really kind of toast. So it's hard to say, oh, I'm gonna take profits in dollars. No, you should take profits in ice cream or whiskey and cigars or something like that. Something that you could enjoy. Speaking of that, I'm going off on tangents again, but speaking of that, my daughter goes away to college here, man, in a few weeks. It's crazy. I can't believe it. She's 18, gonna be 19 in the fall, and she's gonna be going away out of state to college, and big adjustment. And so I'm stocked up on everything I need because I'm not going to have any money. I'll be paying for college, and I refuse for her to take a student loan. See, I've got a problem with colleges anyway. I don't think you learn a whole lot that you can't learn on your own right now. You can learn a skill, and I mean, going into a trade, learning that I think is a better option for most people. But there are some benefits to going to college. It is a big social network. You do make a lot of connections, and you are as valuable as your network. So you're paying for it, but you can gain some knowledge. And I've got a 4-year degree, got it in 3.5 years. I didn't mess around, didn't waste time, didn't stay on campus. But I mean, I would go back and do it again, absolutely, because the path I took, I learned a lot. I gained a lot from college. So I can't disparage somebody for doing that. However, I do have a problem with going to college and taking out all these loans, and you come out with $100,000, in debt, $200,000 in debt. You can't write it off. You can't file bankruptcy on it. So basically you're an indentured servant. I mean, to the state. I mean, because they pretty much hold all the loans. They're backing them all. And that's one of the big things on the government's balance sheet is student loans. It's, an asset to them because they've got all these payments that need to come in. And so doing that and putting yourself kind of in a bad situation from the get-go is probably not a good decision. And and they kind of prey on these young people. I get these loan offers all the time. Oh, get a loan, yeah, Biden will forgive them, right? Yeah, we see how well that's working. And I mean, you think about, that's another thing. Let me stop with that and then go to the other thing about these student loans that are about to kick in again. Now, they pushed it off since the whole COVID thing. a lot of people haven't been paying on their student loans. So it's become a normalization to where they're used to the money that they have and they're spending it, they're using it. Now, when those student loan payments have to be repaid again, you got to start paying on them again. That's going to be a big hit to the economy. That's going to be a lot less money that's able to flow into the economy for goods and services. And that's just a big ripple effect. So I don't know when that happens, when those loans kick in. I should say when those payments need to kick in again, but it's been, I don't know, 2, 3 years now to where they haven't had any to make any payments. I mean, if all of a sudden you got to make that $500 payment, $1,000 a month payment, I don't know. It depends on what your loan is. And that's a big freaking hit. I mean, you are going to take a lot of money out of the economy to essentially just service debt, and it doesn't do anything that's productive to society at that point. So I would expect a slowdown to occur from that, or they print up a bunch more money and stimulate the economy that way for whatever reason. But they're going to have to do something if they want to kick the can some more, because that money is not going to be spent on Starbucks anymore. It's not going to be spent on the lattes and going to movies and going to see, what is it? Barbenheimer, going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day, that whole propaganda thing to where they trying to convince you that, oh, this is the thing to do. It's cool. Go watch Barbie and go watch Oppenheimer. Or should we watch Oppenheimer and then Barbie next? And it's just this, you get so sick of the drivel, I do anyway, watching how they're trying to feed you, what your behavior needs to be. And this is the cool thing. You need to do that. Hey, Mark, awesome. Riki and awesome. That's pretty cool. Keep up the good work. We need people out there doing real stuff. Mark, you're doing real stuff. That's awesome. So yeah, these student loan debt payments that are going to kick back in again, it's going to sap some money out of the economy. But to get back to the whole student loan thing, I get it in some instances to where you are paying for a network, but I just refuse to, and I'm going to bust my butt, do everything I can, make as much money as I can to pay it. And my daughter's worked really hard over the summer and saved up a lot of money toward her college education. And she knew she had to, because it's a choice. And so we have to, in my mind, pay that in real time. You have to be able to afford it. Now, I'm stocked up on like I said, my whiskey and cigars, so I won't be buying anymore. I'm good. Because I know for the next 4 years, I'm probably, not going to be able to. But, and if I have to sell crypto to do it, I'll do it. And that's the way I look at it, because that's what it's there for. And who am I to disparage somebody that's worked hard and wants to fulfill a dream and think that's the path? I was given that opportunity. My parents, grandparents contributed to my college. Like I said, I got out in 3.5 years. I did it as quickly and cheaply as I possibly could. Got my degree, and I came out with no debt. And I think that's very important, not to get yourself into debt. Don't bite off more than you can chew, because that's the one thing that they use against us. See, it's already hard. It's already hard with the inflation that they create. You're already behind the 8 ball from the standpoint of they're going to create this money. I mean, and how many trillions got created during COVID, and that's why you see the inflation roll through the system after the fact, because it's always a lagging effect. And that's why you see the price of things go up now, because the money was created, so that money goes somewhere. And so you're behind the 8 ball already. They're robbing you through the inflation of the monetary supply. You can save that $100 bill 4 years from now. It's not going to have $100 worth of purchasing power. So you're losing. You're losing. And then if you go into debt to pay for something, I mean, you're not only losing your purchasing power, but then you have to pay back all this debt for the rest of your life. And I mean, if there's anything that's a bigger burden and causes more problems, I mean, look at marriages, money. Most of them, because of money. And you try not to put yourself in that kind of situation. Pay for it when you can pay for it. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. You can't afford that new car, maybe don't buy it. Maybe buy something used. We gotta realize that the game's kind of rigged against us, and the inflation's not going to stop. So it's important to try and pay for that stuff when you can, and not be an neither a lender or a borrower be. What was it? Was it Polonius and Hamlet? I think it was Polonius or Laertes. That was the son. I think it was Polonius. Yeah. So you just don't want to be in that situation. So anyway. Get the things that you want to get and need going forward now, because price is going to go up. It's just the way it's going to be. If you can pay for it and own it, have it in your possession. it's a big deal. Okay, so I kind of rambled on that a little bit, but yeah, man, debt's not good. Debt's a bad thing, and I know you're going to buy a house. It's hard. Maybe look at it differently and say, hey, maybe I should buy a starter home and fix it up and add value to it while you're living there, and then maybe you can sell it and make some money on it, and then roll that into a bigger house if you want to. And but sometimes when you take out that mortgage, especially now when it's 7%, 7+%, and historically that's a norm, but we've been used to very low interest rates. We've become accustomed to it, and now they're ratcheting it up to where it's really putting a hit on people at the worst possible time. When businesses are closing, I saw corporate closures or bankruptcies. I don't know what it is. I should look it up, but they're higher now in 2023 than they were last year, and we're not even done with 2023. Let me just find the headline. Yeah, U.S. corporate debt defaults in 2023 surpassed last year's total. Okay, and we're like a little over halfway through 2023. There's probably more pain to come. And so as that economic system, really starts to roll over because of these higher interest rates, it's not going to get any easier. It's just not, especially if you're borrowing money, because it comes at more of a cost. You got to pay that bankster back more money. Anyway, that's not good. I don't know if they teach that in schools, but it's not good. So try and pay for it while you can. I saw yesterday the testimony, and this is, it's just sickening to watch it. I watched the testimony in Congress yesterday. They had Robert Kennedy up there, and he was being accused of being a racist. Robert Kennedy. They called him an anti-Semite, and especially this Debbie Wasserman Schultz. This creature, she was the DNC chairperson when Hillary was running, and Seth Rich disappeared, and a lot of shady things happened in that time frame. Hillary was given the notes, during the debates, given the talking points and the questions ahead of time. Just a lot of corruption, it looks like. And then she's drilling, obviously a prepared speech, she's reading off of it and just hammering Robert Kennedy about, well, you said this, that the COVID vaccine, is less likely to harm certain groups, and one of them was the Ashkenazi Jews, I think it was, and she's, turned it into something that it wasn't. And then Thomas Massey, representative out of Kentucky, said, okay, let's enter it into the record. This was the source that it came from, what Kennedy was referring to. He's actually citing a study. And, because they did a study, I think, on 81,000 different people, and they looked specifically at DNA, how different groups were affected by the COVID vaccine. And he was just citing evidence, factual evidence, and they want to turn it. His own party, Democrats, he's running for the Democratic ticket for president on the ticket. His own party is bashing him and knocking him down and calling him a racist. Completely unfounded. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a little research on Robert Kennedy. I know some about him. I know he's an environmentalist. And so I went through and kind of did a little bit of research. But if you go out and look at the not WikiLeaks, maybe you should look at WikiLeaks, but Wikipedia, which, people can contribute to that, so how factual is it? But the first statement is, Robert Kennedy, known for his conspiracy theories on vaccines and this and that. He's anti-vax propaganda. And, he's the first one to say, hey, I've taken vaccines. My kids have taken vaccines. I just want to make sure that these things are tested properly. And I don't think that they are. And maybe we should start looking at that. That's the only thing that's not tested properly and gone through studies. And you look at what happened in the past 3 years with this pandemic. You had emergency use authorization to where they just rolled this stuff out and didn't test any of it. And you all got guinea pigged, is what it came down to. And they tried to force you into it and say, you're going to kill your neighbor if you don't get it. And all this fear porn that they threw out there, and none of it was studied. And that's what he's taking issue with, that, he's not fundamentally against the vaccines. And they want to paint this guy as just some horrible person, just some vast conspiracy racist, theorist and racist. And anytime they do that, anytime his own party, anytime they do that, it makes me really wonder, maybe he's on to something. See, they did the same thing with Trump. The Republican Party did back in 2016 when he was running. And the Republican Party hated him. I mean, you had Jeb Bush up there, and all the, even what's the dude? What's the senator? Ted Cruz from Texas. I mean, all of them just beating Trump up, and even Rand Paul for a little bit, but he came around. But they all just turned on him, and he's a bad guy, outsider. And that's what they don't like. They don't like somebody coming in from the outside that's not playing ball in the system, bringing up these things that might let the American people think a little bit or cause them to think very well. He's a very smart guy. He is very truthful, very factual, cites evidence. And that's just what he does. So I respect the guy for that. And, the way they treated him and tried to obfuscate and tried to paint a picture of him that was not true. Evidently, very obviously, and, with evidence, was not true what he was saying. And it's just sickening to watch the establishment do that. But it tells you something about the establishment. It might tell you something about the candidate, where he stands. Yeah, it was pretty pathetic. Go watch that. There's some clips on Twitter of that testimony yesterday, and it's just amazing. I think there were over 100 of them that signed off and said they didn't even want him to testify. Didn't even want him to have his turn at free speech. I mean, what's that tell you? When you've got selected, elected Congress people signing off and saying, we don't want this guy to come testify. We don't want to hear what he has to say. I mean, this is a guy he comes from the Kennedy family. I mean, they've been engaged in politics forever. And he's running for president, but we don't want to hear from him. I mean, isn't that our fundamental right here? Isn't that one of them? One of the big ones here, the First Amendment, freedom of speech. I mean, if we can't have a discourse and we can't have a discussion, if we can't talk about these things and get it out there and have a legitimate discussion rather than name calling, then how are we going to fix anything? Maybe that's why things don't get fixed, because it's all about an agenda. It's all about attacking. It's ad hominem attacks. It's not legit, is what it comes down to. It makes you think the whole thing's a scam. It's an insider rigged game. So go watch some of that testimony. It was pretty good. Decide for yourselves what you think about it. It's something else. And then you have another thing. They're going after Trump again about I don't even know what and this and that. Yet we've got 2 IRS whistleblowers that are saying, and then Chuck Grassley, was it Senator Chuck Grassley? Anyway, coming out and saying, hey, look, the Bidens got paid $5 million each. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden got $5 million each, for this whole Ukraine thing and this prosecutor that got removed. I mean, where's the impeachment trials? I mean, where are the hearings on all this stuff? I mean, these are impeachable offenses. I mean, these are not, this is evidence. And yet, nobody does anything about it. So I think you're seeing right now, which is a good thing, you're seeing a lot of the lies being exposed, a lot of the agenda being exposed. It's a good thing. I mean, it really is. I'm all about, talk about whatever you want. We can look at you and make our own decisions and say, man, this guy is whacked. This guy's not right. But why shut him down? Why shut down free speech? Because all you can do is learn from it. Hey, you might change your mind and say, hey, maybe he's onto something. Maybe this is something I need to look into. But if you don't hear from him and if you don't get to even have that person have a voice, that's a problem. And you've got people in his own party not even wanting him to talk. So this will be enjoy the show. This is going to be quite the election season, because they're probably not even going to want this guy to be on the debate. They've already said they don't want to have debates. Biden's the guy. We're going to rerun him. And so, I can't imagine Biden being in a debate with this guy. Kennedy knows his stuff. He knows his research. Do I agree with him on everything? No. I've done a lot of homework on it. And, he's very much a pretty staunch environmentalist. He's done a lot of good things. I'm all for the environment. I love the beauty of nature. I want to protect nature. And, but I don't want to stifle and kill civilization in the process. This is just a touchy subject. I don't want to get into it too much, but I mean, absolutely, you know, government needs to be regulated and industry needs to be regulated. You can't have people pouring pollutants in rivers and contaminating things. You can't have corporations doing that. You know, there needs to be a check on that. You can't just be destroying the environment for profit. I mean, that's a big problem. But we do need energy for things to run. Maybe we should start looking at more efficient and innovative ways for energy, not just the same old things we've had for decades. Hey, build solar panels, hey, build windmills. I mean, they've got their flaws. They take a lot of resources. They take a lot of fossil fuels to create these things. A lot of resources that come out of the ground that do damage on their own in their own right to create them. But then again, you know, you're drilling oil, you got oil spills, coal, you know, it pollutes, you know, you got a lot of mercury that goes in the water supply. So I mean, we've just got to find a good way to do this stuff. I mean, I'm just, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I think there's a lot of free energy out there that's been withheld that needs to be looked into, needs to be released. There are better ways to do things than we've been doing them now. I think it's yeah, CO2. Yeah, exactly. Carbon dioxide's a bad thing. We need to eliminate it. Okay, well, the trees, what are we gonna do about save the trees? How are you gonna save the trees? You know, you need some carbon dioxide and we exhale it, don't we? And then the trees use it and then they produce oxygen. Isn't that what it is? The circle of life. So, I don't know. Some common sense things. And I mean, you can try and regulate that stuff and put carbon credits and this and that on it, but yet they're going to fly to Davos and have a meeting, you know, flying these big jets, these private planes, all these people flying in. I mean, how much does that produce, you know, in emissions? So, I mean, it's just, you watch what they, like Dave says, Blind Dave says, you know, just watch what they say, watch what they do. And that's an important thing. We just need to pay attention. There are better ways to do things, and we just need to bring it out. Need to have good people talking about it and having the discourse, having the discussion. And these things don't get talked about if you just shut them down and don't let people speak. So it's important to let people speak. That's why we have free speech. That's why the Constitution's written, for hard times. I like that, you know, Kennedy, I'm paraphrasing. It was written for hard times. You know, and that's the time when you want to embrace it the most. You know, when you think back in the early 2000s when we had the 9/11 event and then the Patriot Act and spying on everybody, and it was almost, well, you got to give up some of your rights for, you know, to protect America from the outside forces. And it's like, no, that's the time when you need to embrace the rights. Free speech is important then. Freedom of the press is important then. I mean, those are the times that you need that stuff. You know, they're not there for the good times. You know, these rights, they're there for the bad times when people are trying to take them away, and you have to defend them in those times, and that's what's important. And it's very sad to me to see what our Congress is currently doing, trying to shut down free speech, trying to label other people. The song that came out, Jason Aldean, you know, talking about getting shut down, Country Music Television took his video off. I mean, and you can make the argument that, hey, one person's art's another person's trash, but you know, I didn't watch the whole video, but I listened to the song and looked at the lyrics. Try that in a small town, I think is the name of the song. And I get where he's coming from. I get it. It's that, you know, it's the way, in my opinion, the way he presents it's kind of, you know, you know, try that in a small town, try that in a small town. And we like to think that, you know, oh, small towns, you know, we're going to take care of business. In a lot of cases that happens. But, you know, he's kind of capitalizing on that message a little bit. But to call it racist and take videos down because of it, I mean, this is his song. This is his artwork. I mean, look at the artwork that some of these people, you know, that they put out there. I mean, look at all the stuff that's allowed on social media platforms. I mean, and you don't ban that. I mean, you got a lot of nasty stuff. Look at the Hunter Biden laptop. You know, you got to be careful when you go down that road of censorship. When you start, I say let it all out there. And that's my whole thing. Put it all out there and we decide. Now, if somebody's getting hurt in the process, I mean, you know, if you're videotaping and showing certain things of people getting hurt and their rights being violated and their lives being threatened, I mean, physically and being harmed, that's another thing. But to just put a message out, you either align with the message or you don't align with the message. It's up to you. But you can't just go and censor everybody just because you don't like it and you think, oh, that's a terrible message. Well, okay, if it's a terrible message, put it out there and everybody will see it, and we'll make our own decisions. I mean, and that's an important thing. We need to be able to do that, and to get into that mindset of, we're going to ban that. We got to take this book out. We got to take that book out. You know, no, that's not good. It used a racial slur. We got to get rid of Huckleberry Finn. It's like, well, that was kind of the way it was in the times of the day. And, you know, it's a historical record that you're now going to just, you know, scrub the history. Like tearing down statues. You're going to tear down statues because you don't agree that person's thinking fits into our modern day way of thinking. You look back in history and there's a lot of things that happen that you look at and think, wow, they really did that. But to just wipe that off the slate, you're never going to learn. I mean, look back at that and say, hey, that was a good, like Andrew Jackson, for instance. Hey, he did a lot of good things. He fought the bank, you know. However, he did a lot of bad things too, you know. But it's no reason to go tearing down statues and erasing him from the record, because, you know, it's important to go back and look and say, yeah, you know, some of those things probably weren't right. Probably shouldn't have done those things. And we learn from that. You know, let's not repeat those mistakes. Let's learn from the lessons of history rather than just say, I'm not going to look at it. We're just going to go off blindly into the future and do whatever we want. Well, there are consequences to that. I mean, human beings have never changed. We're all the same. We've been the same since the beginning of time. You know, we're mixtures of good and evil. We do good things, we do bad things, hopefully more good than bad. And, you know, we can learn from the mistakes of others and hopefully not have to go through it. We can learn vicariously through those people and take those lessons and say, you know what, probably not a good thing to do. Probably not a good thing to do. You know, the hand on the burner. Okay, that guy put his hand on the burner and burned his hand. I'm not going to do that. You know, learn from that person's mistakes. You know, it's a good thing to have that. So, you know, to me, deleting history, imposing restrictions on speech, on creativity, it's a problem because there's always something to be learned. Look at Edgar Allan Poe. Look at all the things he wrote. Just amazing stuff. But he was addicted to, what was it, laudanum, you know, a drug addict basically, and died, I don't know, 40 years old-ish. And so what are we going to do? Say, okay, that person, it's terrible. You know, we don't like how he lived. So, you know, everything he created, we're not going to talk about it and we're not going to read it. Nevermore. You know, you just can't do that, in my opinion. It's my free speech. That's how I believe. That's what I'm going to tell you. So that's a bigger conversation. And maybe we won't save that for happy hour. Happy hour is supposed to be a little more fun. Yeah, speaking of happy hour, it's today at 4 p.m. Central Time on Litecoin Lisa's channel. Tune in for that. He's smoking a cigar, baby. Probably won't be drinking, though, because a little update on the tooth situation. This tooth back here, man, I tell you, just putting my tongue on, it's a crown, and it's going to get pulled next Friday, but it's a crown. I put my tongue on it, and it hurt. And I said, man, this feels a little bit sensitive, a little bit swollen, and I don't like doing this, but I called the dentist and said, hey, man, I'm getting this thing pulled next Friday. I do not want it getting infected now to where they're not going to pull it. Get me an antibiotic. And I hate taking any kind of prescription drugs. I don't like antibiotics, but it's at the time frame now where the thing's got to come out. And so I started the antibiotic last night just because I do not want the infection. You know, I don't want it getting infected. And I kind of had a feeling that it was starting to. So I'm on antibiotics for the next week. So happy hour today. I'll be drinking some ice cold water or tea or something. Which reminds me, I was going to bring some water out. I didn't bring my canister of water. I got a stainless steel canister. Fill it up with filtered water. And yeah, I do put clove in there, and it does help, Warrior. Somebody else said black seed oil. And I've got both of those, and I'll put it in there, and it does help. It's just that it's had so much work done on the tooth that underneath it's starting to decay underneath the crown, and it's just to the point where it's done. And it's just, you know, all of a sudden it really started hurting. And it's coming out. It's the way it is. And so, yeah, that gets me through until next Friday to get the thing pulled out. But again, yeah, I definitely don't want to, I don't want the infection in there, because then they'll say, well, we can't pull it. Next thing you know, freaking goes to my heart and I'm done. I'm just not going to play that game. So, I'm willing to engage in the pharmaceuticals temporarily. But yeah, man, I don't even take painkillers. I mean, I can't remember the last time I took like ibuprofen or aspirin or anything. I just don't do it. And so, yep, you know, there's a time and a place for everything. And right now, the place and the time is to have me an antibiotic. And I don't know. I'm taking probiotics at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, I'm doing that to try and because I know it's going to destroy everything that's good in the gut, and I don't want that to happen. And plus, I've been eating better just because I don't want to chew on it. I just can't. There was a piece of pizza that my daughter, a tooth's got to know its limitations. That's right. It's met its limitations. But last night my daughter had a friend over, my youngest daughter, and they cooked a frozen pizza. And there was a couple of pieces left. My wife said, "Do you want a piece of the pizza?" And I'm like, "I'd love to have a piece of the pizza, but I just don't want to chew on this thing." I mean, just tapping it, it's like, ugh. So, you know, I can chew on one side, but man, if I tap that crown, it's just, oh, no thanks. So I don't even want to eat. So bananas, yogurt, mixed with probiotics, and that's kind of what I've been eating. You know, soup. So I don't know. I just don't want to eat. I just don't want to chew on it. So yeah, by next Friday it'll be out. We'll see. It'll be Friday morning. I don't know if I'll be up and ready for happy hour next Friday to kick back into it, but we'll see. The antibiotics will be out of my system hopefully, and I'll have a gaping wound here that I'll have to pour a little whiskey over. Probably not the best idea, but you know. So yeah, tooth problems with Westwood. I don't know. I've always had not the greatest teeth. I've had a lot of work done to them. It's just very frustrating, you know, one of those things. So if you've got good teeth, bless you. I tell you what, I kind of wish I had better teeth, but it is what it is. One of the things. I have been taking, and I don't know, I'll give an update on this. Lisa has Dr. Reg McDaniel on Wednesdays, every other Wednesday, and I did order some of that, the new Eden products, and that's the probiotic, and that's the product that I'm taking in the yogurt. And I started doing that, I don't know, earlier this week, and I'm going to continue to do that. I do feel better. I don't know if it's because of that. Last week, I said, last Friday, I think when I made my video, or Thursday, whenever it was, I had a cup of coffee out here and some bugs got in it. I drank half the cup and threw it out because there's little gnats and stuff in it. And since then, I haven't had any coffee. I just said, you know what, I'm done with it. And I do feel better, which is kind of crazy. Not, you know, I'm not anti-coffee or anything. You know, I enjoyed it. But I just got to the point where I felt like, you know, I just don't want to drink it anymore. And I've gone through this phase before to where I stopped drinking coffee for 2 years. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like making it anymore. So I'm not drinking coffee either. And I do feel better because it was kind of irritating my stomach. And I feel a lot better now not having it. So maybe I'm just getting old and things are bothering me that didn't used to bother me. But no, I've been coffee free for the last week. And, you know, I'm fine with it. Really didn't get the headache like I usually do when I quit. So that's my little journey, little update for the Friday. Haven't been smoking the cigar. It keeps going out because it's just sitting here. It is an Oliva Serie O today, is what I have. It's a pretty good cigar. I like the Olivas. I think you probably all know that. There it is. Didn't stop doing that though. So anyway, yeah, just the things that are going on right now, I think it's becoming so much more evident that exactly, only as old as you feel. Yeah, and so that's why I make changes, because, you know, I start feeling like, you know, I just don't feel that great, you know, and food is medicine. So what you put into your body affects you, and everybody's affected differently. And so if it gets to the point where something's bothering you, well, you make a change and see if you feel any better. And with the coffee thing, for instance, you know, I feel better not having it. I just do. So I don't know. I'm just not going to drink it anymore. And the same with the food. Yeah, I mean, the stuff that you put in your body, I mean, I just came out here, that's what I was going to say. I usually have a canister of water. You know, you'll see me drinking it on happy hour when I'm not drinking alcohol. You'll see me drinking it today. But I'll have a big canister of water, stainless steel canister, and I'll fill it up with filtered water. And that's what I drink out of. Drink out of glass, stainless steel, stuff like that. And I didn't bring it out with me, and so I opened up the bar to let it air out for later. And I went in there, I said, man, I should grab a bottle of water. And I thought, you know, I don't want to grab the bottle of water and drink out of it. You know, it's, if you have to, I get it. It's there, it's convenient. But I just watched a video yesterday, and I know this stuff, but I watched a video yesterday where somebody did a little experiment where they electrolyzed it, I think it is. They got this little pins that go down there, electrolyzes the water. Took 2 glasses of water, one in a glass out of a water filter, one directly out of the tap, put it in there, and the one out of the tap, I mean, you know, that process, it stirred up so much gunk, and it's like black stuff and greenish and bluish, and I'm like, what is in this water that's coming out of the faucet? And I think, and we know it's fluoridated, we know it's got, you know, pharmaceutical drugs in it that have been recycled through the water supplies, and you think, what is in this stuff? And it can't be good. It just can't be. And I have a well right now. Yeah, it was just crazy, right, Mark? I mean, watching that, and you think, man, what are you really drinking and putting in your body? And, you know, you're what, 3/4 water? And if that's what your sole water source, and you're putting that in your body, and you're putting all that other stuff in there too, and what effect does that have on you? I mean, it can't be good. That's just my thought. And there's a well here. We have a well here, and I still filter the water because, you know, you can get parasites, you can get stuff in the water in the well, but at least you're not getting, and you maybe even got runoff from the fields, you know, getting into the water supply. So you should filter it. I mean, do something to purify that water, because the water out of the tap, they got these big processing plants, but they add fluoride to it, and it's got the skull and crossbones right on it. It's dangerous. I mean, and who knows, you know, they chlorinate it, you know, and so you're drinking that, and I mean, so many people, you know, especially in the cities, are drinking that stuff, not thinking anything of it. And what's that really doing to you? And you don't know until you stop doing it. Like I said, you know, you take something out of your diet and you realize, okay, well, I do feel better now. I don't know. And I think a lot of it's by design. I mean, it just is. I mean, all this stuff is by design. I talked in the beginning about the crypto market. I think a lot of this is by design. You know, you've got big players accumulating crypto kind of off the books, you know, in wallets that are just kind of disappearing, and they're holding the good cryptos. Meanwhile, Bitcoin sits at $30,000, you know, Litecoin at $92, DigiByte under a penny. I mean, these solid cryptos, but yet they're actually, somebody's taking possession of these things. And I think it's because it's on a schedule. You know, now's the time to scoop that stuff up while it's cheap. Keep you from buying it, keep us from buying it. And you know what happens? I use the example of someone I know opens up the Venmo, you know, a few weeks ago, says, "Ooh, what's this Bitcoin Cash thing?" And so I get a phone call. "Hey, is Bitcoin Cash something good?" You know, because price is going up. "Oh, I need to get some," right? And that's what gets people into the market. You know, realize what the big players are doing right now. They're accumulating this stuff and taking possession of the assets that are going to be necessary in this new digital system that they are rolling us into. Not really telling us, but they are doing it. FedNow went live, what, last night? Yesterday? I mean, what's next? You know, they want to roll us into this real-time digital system to soak up all the trillions and quadrillions that they've printed and created out of nothing, not even printed. It's all digital. So what's the only way to take care of this and suck it up? It's to have an unlimited sponge like cryptocurrency. They can make your pensions whole, you know, if they denominate them, or say they denominate them in a cryptocurrency, because that cryptocurrency, hey, it's $1 million Bitcoin. I got a $200,000 pension, you know, so I got 0.2 Bitcoin. Look, and it sucks it up. So the purchasing power of your dollar that you put into it gets lost, but you know, you still have the purchasing power of using Bitcoin, you know, if that's what's denominating it. But you see, that's how they can soak up all the abuses that they've created in the past. And this is just how I see it. May not be right, but it's the perfect way to transition us into a digital system and to take care of all the problems that they've created. They'll just, you know, and if they're buying it up and they're holding it and they've already got, you know, as much as they need to, and then they can, you know, open the system. And who are they? Banks, government, who knows? All the machinations behind the scenes, all the people behind the curtain, you know, they're the ones that are gathering these things up because they know the value that they're going to be, because there will be a revaluation of the money, and it will be in these cryptos. Not all of them, but certain ones it will be. And I just think at some point there's a trigger, there's something that happens, and then they let it go. They just say, okay, now it's time. It's almost like how convenient, you know, certain things happen. You ask yourself, why XRP ruling on this particular day? What else happened during this day? You know, you start looking behind the scenes, and it's, yeah, see, I don't even know why I bother. And I think it's all kind of engineered and planned. And the key is how you win, or at least stay ahead, is to realize they're doing that and get your coins and put your coins in your possession. Because it's one thing to say, hey, look, I've got, and this is what they'll do though. They'll make it easy for people because I open up your FedNow wallet, just like you open a Venmo wallet now and say, oh, look, I got a half a Litecoin in there. Well, you really don't until you take it out. Okay? I mean, it's just like having it on an exchange. You know, you might say it's just like your pension right now. I've got this money in my pension. Do you? Can you get it? And at what cost? What penalty? And it may be the same thing with cryptocurrency. You can buy all you want. Here, buy all you want on our platform, whatever platform they, you know, say. Use your CBDCs, which are, you know, just dollars, digital dollars. That's all they are. Use your CBDCs that you're getting every month in your Social Security, you're getting paid with. All, you know, and that's the new system. And you can buy the crypto, you know, buy what you want. And, you know, leave it on the platform. But when you take it out, it might be like a pension to where it's like, you're going to take a 30% hit if you're going to withdraw it. Well, why? Well, that's just the way it is. It's our casino. So any number of things can happen, especially with programmable money, and you just got to be aware of that. They'll probably bail it out, but they're not going to bail it out the way you think they're going to bail it out. Like I said, your pension might be worth 0.2 Bitcoin. Well, 0.2 Bitcoin right now is what, $6,000? Am I right on that? I don't know. 6 times 5, yeah. $6,000. Well, you can take $6,000 now and get the 0.2 Bitcoin, or you can wait and your $200,000 pension is going to be worth 0.2 Bitcoin, because that's how the dollar gets reset. That's how the economic system gets reset. They'll give you something for it, or you'll get something for it, but if you would have gotten it now and seen it coming, you would have had a whole lot more of it. I may be off base. I may be totally wrong. That's kind of how I see it going. That's how it would work. If I'm running it, I'm like, okay, well, this is a way to fix it. Or you fix it with, you know, just straight CBDCs and say, okay, we're just revaluing it in this, and they can create as many CBDCs as they want. You know, as many central bank digital currencies as they want. And it just makes it easier for them. You know, instead of, you know, printing up $1 trillion or creating $1 trillion, they'll just go, bloop, okay, there it is. Everybody's funded. You know, bank goes under. Hey, we need $500 million to bail out this bank and all the account holders. Okay, boop, done. CBDCs, it's in the account. You can go spend it. Makes it a lot easier to manage a collapse. And how long can they kick the can at that point? Probably a lot longer if we allow them to do it. But I think that's the road that we're going down. And I think most people, as long as stuff works and they can spend at the gas station, spend at Starbucks, spend wherever they need to, and it's easy, and they just tap their phone, they're going to be good. And they'll say, oh, look at my portfolio. Well, do you have it in your possession? Well, it's on my phone. Can you take it out and like put it on a paper wallet? Can you take it out and just like put it in cold storage? Well, yeah, I can do that. Okay, well, try it and see how you get hit. Because at some point with a finite supply, they're not going to let you do that. It's not going to let you do it because it won't be there. So I'm looking for an honest system. I hope we have an honest system. I would love to see a blockchain-based system to where we can audit everything. I'm hopeful for that. However, I'm not confident that they're going to do it, because you can put all the regulation in you want. Just remember, the banks are highly regulated, and banks go under and need to be bailed out. So how's that going to change? They're just going to have an easier way to bail it out, because they can just click of a mouse, like Mick says, boom, click of a mouse, boom, you're refunded, reliquified. But again, it's just inflation. And so what's going to suck up that inflation? You know, the sound crypto assets are going to suck up that inflation. And so they'll go up. They'll have to go up. There's only so many of them. All right. Enough rambling. Let me look at the chat. I haven't looked at the chat and just shout out everybody. I saw y'all popping up. And what did I do? Miss a call? I don't even know who that is. Let me take a look and say hi to everybody. I see everybody flying around, making comments. There we go. Westwood's live. I'll be darned. 20 people in the chat. Pretty cool. Thanks for hanging out on a Friday. You know, I just on the whim decided to have this. Warriors in here. Yep, absolutely. The Rand's in here. Wendell's in here. Babs is in here. Yes, JB Rance is in here. Representing Boston. Gotta love it. Mark Weems shouted him out already. Ron, you're in here too. Good to see you, man. Yeah, Blind Dave listening. Very nice. Daddy O is all over the chat. Silver Gem in the house. Very nice. Bitcoin Bull. I know, yeah, you get to jump in live. That's pretty neat. Yes, exactly. We have the power. Yeah, the left boycotts a song and it goes viral. The right boycotts a beer and poof, there goes 30 billion. You're right, Thorand. We have the power. We have the power to decide with our energy what we want to do. And energy, money is just a representation of energy. So whatever money you use, you can say, I'm not buying Bud Light anymore. And that's your choice. Or I'm not going to buy this anymore just because of what you support and your message, because I don't like it. I don't like your commercials. They offend me. I'm done. I'm not buying this anymore. Totally your choice. And you look what happens when enough of us say that. Done. Poof. 30 billion gone, just like you said. And that's just the way it is. And we got to realize the power that we have on this stuff. If we just say no, and I'm not going to give you my energy, I'm not going to give you my money, and then it's done. That's how you change it. Yes. Top Shot Hernandez in the house too. Chewing on aluminum foil, huh? Put that on my head. Aluminum foil. Yeah, definitely. Food's the best medicine. Yeah, I do like Rocky Patel Edge. They have one with the Sumatra, yeah, the Sumatra wrapper. I like all the Rocky Patel Edges. The Maduro it's a little dark. I do like that when I'm mowing. I'm talking to Bitcoin Bull here on cigars. But yeah, I like the Rocky Patel Edge series. I like the Habano wrap. I kind of like Habano wraps. That's, you know, of any of them, that's kind of where I kind of like the flavor the most out of those. But yeah, the Sumatra is good. The Maduros, I do like some Maduros. Like I said, I like them when I'm mowing. I kind of chew on them more and get more flavor out of it and break it down. I like Rocky Patel, the Sun-Grown and the Sun-Grown Maduros. Those are pretty good. Yeah, I like Rocky Patel cigars. I mean, they're pretty good. They've got the, I don't know what they call them, like it's not the anniversary series. It's, they got dates on them, like 1988, 1992. I like the 92. So yeah, I do like Rocky Patels. Yeah, the edges are good. Yes, DigiByte. I can't say your name. Joint Ops. Is that how you want it pronounced? I'm not sure. Yeah, shout out to Westwood, Houston, Texas. All right, yeah, DigiByte, man. Spray foaming, Blind Dave. He's always working, fixing these places up. That's pretty awesome, man. I love it. You know, getting stuff done. You know, building for what's to come. He's got a lot of big plans, Blind Dave does, and he's implementing them. He's getting them done. And I like that. That's awesome. You know, there's no sense, you know, being a bear crypto market, you know, to think that, oh, it's all over. We got to wait till 2025 and then moon, and then we can check off all our boxes. Well, if you can check little boxes now, that's the important thing. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So you got to take that first step. It doesn't matter, you know, what kind of conditions it is. Oh my gosh, it's a blizzard, it's snowing, you know, maybe not the best time to do it, but you know, you got to take that first step to get on that journey. And that's really what it comes down to. Know where you want to be and just, you know, just move forward, no matter how slow. You know, the old tortoise won the race, right? You just got to keep moving forward and be steady and just, you know, be consistent and know what you want. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for most people. It's, what do you want? We just had somebody win $1 billion in the lotto in Los Angeles, California, a little over $1 billion. Well, the lump sum payout's like 500 some million. Well, then we take taxes out of it and you might end up with 300 million. Maybe, I don't know, you know, out of $1 billion. Where'd that money go? Who got that? They got it for doing nothing. I mean, they just took it. They just took it from, you know, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. But you think about it, okay, you walk away with $300 million, let's say. What are you going to do? How's your life going to change today? Because it's changed. I mean, how is it going to change? What are you going to do? I mean, is it going to be, I don't know, I just got this cash, you know, I ain't worried about it. It's never going to run out. You'd be like MC Hammer buying all these houses and can't pay the tax bill on it. I forgot I had to pay property tax, you know, then you go bankrupt. So you got to know where you want to be. And if you're given the opportunity to be there, get there. You know, if life deals you a good hand, know what you're going to do with it. And so start working toward that every day. And then if you get a lift up and a big boost like that, then wow, I made it there. And then the thing is, okay, now what am I going to do? Now I'm in a different world, and that's what screws people up. Okay, the crypto market runs up. It's like, oh my gosh, look at my net worth. Oh man, all this crypto. And then you think, well, but what are you going to do with it? And most people are paralyzed because they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Do I cash it out? What do I do? You got to have certain goals, and you got to know what those goals are. You got to know what you're about, and be thinking about that all the time, and being working toward that all the time, and slowly working toward that. And then if all of a sudden you're there, boom, get there. And then find out what, once you're there, it's not just the end is the goal. Sometimes it's the journey. But then say you meet your goal and you get there, and crypto gives that to you, the lotto gives that to you. Something, once you get there, then what? I mean, are you just done? You're just gonna be sitting on the beach? I mean, if that's the goal, that's the goal. And just carefree life and enjoy the waves. But know what it is that's going to, will that bring you happiness? What your goals are, and just kind of work towards that happiness, whatever it is. And sometimes the happiness is just the working toward the goal. It's not necessarily the end game, the end goal. It's the journey in doing it. It's just the act of doing it. So you do that act every day, and it leaves you more fulfilled, I think. That's my opinion. Anyway, if you do well, then do well. Do well for others. Do well for the world. Do well for humanity. All right, I think I'm going to wrap that. Yep, absolutely, Dave. Plan a trade a plan, and stick to it. That's what you got to do. Write it down if you have to. Write it down if you have to. Yep, 10% for the big guy. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate all of you for hopping in here. Like I said, I just popped the camera on, and I appreciate everybody showing up, giving your time, giving your energy to listen to me, and hopefully there's something I said that is valuable and you can take with you, and it's makes things better, makes you look at things a different way, and if anything, maybe just kept you busy for almost an hour. Yeah, gave you something to do. So yeah, join us for happy hour today, Friday. It's Friday, 4 o'clock Central Time. Litecoin Lisa's channel. I hope to see you all there. And who knows what we're going to talk about? Maybe we'll talk about some new glass that Lisa picked up. Some new old stuff, antiques. She's antiquing. Oh, interesting to see what she's got now. But well, we'll save that joke for happy hour. I was thinking of something. All right, I love you all. I do. I appreciate every one of you. Thanks for giving your time and your energy. And think about how life, what your goals are, and how you can leave things better than you found them, and make things better for yourself, your family, for humanity. And I think that's it. We just keep working toward that, and that's a good thing. All right, have a happy Friday. See you on happy hour. And above all, do not trust vampires. All they want to do is steal your energy. Trust yourselves. All right, see you on happy hour.